So if I get my mic right, there we go. Welcome to the January 2026 open meeting of the Federal Communications Commission. Welcome back to everybody that has dug yourself out of snow. I don't know about many of you, but I had to try to clear my driveway, and I'm feeling still sore a number of days later, but I'm glad to be dug out and back to business as usual here. So before the meeting starts, will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, now that you are also dug out, will you please introduce this month's agenda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to you and good morning, commissioners. For today's meeting, you will hear 4 items for your consideration. First, you will consider a 4th report in order and third further notice of proposed rulemaking on expanding unlicensed operations in the 6 gigahertz band. Second, you will consider a report in order on establishing transparency in foreign adversary control. Third, you will consider a report in order on promoting clarity by codifying and simplifying foreign ownership rules. Fourth, you will consider a notice of proposed rulemaking that would seek comment on enhancements to IP-based telecommunications relay services. This is your agenda for today. Today's first item is titled Expanding Unlicensed Operations in the 6 gigahertz band and will be presented by the Office of Engineering and Technology. Andrew Hendrickson, Chief of the Office, will give the introduction.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Chief Hendrickson, please proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I am pleased to introduce a 4th report in order and 3rd further notice of proposed rulemaking that will create new opportunities for unlicensed use of what is commonly known as the 6 gigahertz band. Joining me at the table is Nicholas Oros, Deputy Chief of the Policy and Rules Division. Nick will present the item. Nick, it's you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Since 2020, the Commission has been expanding unlicensed use of the 6 gigahertz band to support the growing demand for wireless connectivity, such as Wi-Fi. Unlicensed devices share the 6 gigahertz band with licensed incumbent services, such as point-to-point microwave links, satellite, and the broadcast auxiliary service. Today's item permits a new type of unlicensed device to operate in the band, geofenced variable power devices. The FCC previously allowed the use of 3 classes of unlicensed devices in the 6 gigahertz band. Standard power devices, which operate under the control of an automated frequency coordination system. Low power indoor devices, or LPI, which operate at lower power than standard power devices, but they are restricted to indoor use only. And very low power devices, or VLP, which operate at even lower power than the LPI devices, but they may operate anywhere without any restrictions. The new geofenced variable power device class will fill an important gap between the VLP and LPI devices. These devices will operate at significantly higher power than the VLP devices, but without the restriction to indoor operation of the LPI. These devices will be prohibited from operating in exclusion zones on certain frequencies to prevent them from causing harmful interference to point-to-point microwave links. The exclusion zones will be calculated by a geofencing system using information in the Commission's licensing database. Geofenced variable power devices will be limited to 2 portions of the 6 gigahertz band, totaling 850 megahertz of spectrum. The higher power of geofenced variable power devices will enable enhancements to augmented reality, virtual reality wearable devices, high data rate mobile hotspots, and other unlicensed use cases. The further notice proposes additional operational flexibility for the 6 gigahertz band unlicensed devices, including operating low-power indoor devices on cruise ships and permitting automated frequency coordination systems to take into account building loss when determining frequency, availability, and power levels. The Office of Engineering Technology recommends adoption of this item and requests editorial privileges to make technical conforming edits. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now hear comments from the bench, starting with Commissioner Gomez.
Thank you. Back in 2020, the FCC made an important decision to support wireless innovation and meet consumer demand. It allowed unlicensed use in the 6 gigahertz band. And as you just heard, we've had an evolution of devices and services that we've allowed in the band. But the bands continue to become increasingly crowded. So to allow for wireless innovation to continue to reach consumers while protecting incumbents of the 6 gigahertz band, we permitted these 2 new devices to operate in the band, as you just heard. Since then, the popularity and types of connected devices has only continued to grow. So in 2023, we authorized a new class of unlicensed devices to operate in the 6 gigahertz band, which were the very low power devices. They were authorized to operate first only in a portion of the band and later in 2024 throughout the entire band. Those decisions propelled more innovation in wearable and virtual reality devices. But innovation inspires innovation. There are even more devices today that will need to rely on unlicensed spectrum to connect consumers. And that is why today we are authorizing a new type of unlicensed device to operate in the 6 gigahertz band, the geofenced variable power device. This new class of devices will operate at higher power, but will work with a geofencing system to minimize the possibility of harmful interference and to stay out of exclusion zones. Once again, demonstrating that good spectrum policy can choose both innovation and protecting licensed incumbents. The continued support for unlicensed innovation in the 6 gigahertz band has been long in the making. Our decision today sends a message beyond our borders about the United States' commitment to next generation Wi-Fi operations, and we hope to set an example for the world. So finally, I want to thank the Office of Engineering and Technology for their hard work over the years on this important item.
Thank you. Now hear from Commissioner Trusty.
Thanks. United States leadership in spectrum innovation requires a balanced spectrum policy that recognizes the importance of both licensed and unlicensed operations. I'm pleased to support today's 4th report in order because it will enhance the value of the 6 gigahertz band and reinforce U.S. leadership in next generation Wi-Fi technologies. Unlicensed innovation is rapidly expanding into applications that demand low latency, high throughput, and reliable indoor connectivity. Among other things, these applications could include augmented reality glasses supporting remote collaboration, immersive tools, training tools for first responders and industrial workers, or wearable devices that monitor health, fitness, and environmental conditions in real time. By authorizing geofence variable power or GVP devices, the Commission enables these technologies to scale and meet growing consumer demand while maintaining appropriate protections for incumbent users. Importantly, while the 6 gigahertz band offers significant promise for wearable and other emerging use cases, this item appropriately takes a technology-neutral approach that leaves room for future innovations we cannot yet predict. The further notice of proposed rulemaking builds on this progress by proposing additional opportunities for unlicensed use in the 6 gigahertz band. Together, the report and order and FMPRM move us closer to our shared goal of universal connectivity, ensuring that advanced wireless capabilities are able to support innovation and connect Americans wherever they live, work, or travel. I thank the Office of Engineering and Technology for your great work on this item.
Thank you, commissioners. Earlier this month, I had the chance to get back out to the Consumer Electronics Show along with my colleagues out in Las Vegas. During the show, I eventually found a chance to duck out of the panels and get down to the show floor where the real action is. I got to admire all of the latest innovations, and it is always fun to get to see what's coming next. Perhaps one of the most consequential innovations at CES wasn't something entirely new, but a supercharged version of something that consumers already love, the next generation of Wi-Fi. You see, at this year's show, America's tech industry debuted Wi-Fi 8 routers and chips for launch as soon as this year. This next generation of Wi-Fi will offer blazing fast speeds, massive capacity, and better power efficiency. This is a big deal. After all, we've seen so much innovation take place across all of our spectrum bands, both licensed and unlicensed alike. And at CES in particular, you could see these unlicensed spectrum bands powering everything from AI-enabled wearables to consumer drones, American-made drones, of course. Now, you might not have seen one thing at CES, which is the FCC's own dedicated team of engineers, but they deserve a shout out here because they're the ones that have been working tirelessly to bring more unlicensed spectrum to the marketplace and to allow innovators to supercharge existing operations in those unlicensed bands. Now, if you go back to 2020, during the first Trump administration, Chairman Pai recognized that we faced a shortage of unlicensed spectrum as U.S. businesses were busy building a new generation of consumer devices. So the FCC went big and opened up 1,200 megahertz in the 6 gigahertz band for unlicensed use. Consumers across the country now benefit from a better Wi-Fi experience as a result. Today, we build on that foundation and offer more flexibility to support future innovations in the 6 gigahertz band. Everything from compelling AR, VR applications to short-range hotspots and much more. Our consumers, our economy, and our innovators will all be better off for today's decision. More broadly, President Trump has been clear that the administration is working successfully to unleash America's technology leadership. And today's decision marks another win in that effort. For all of their hard work on the item, I'd like to thank the team, including Chief Hendrickson, Nicholas Oros, Michael Ha, Baman Badapur, Ayo Wilkinsell, Anika Tassin, and Matthew Miller in the Office of Engineering and Technology, plus Keith McCrickard from OGC, as well as Alex Yankelevich, Cher Lee, and Patrick Sun from the Office of Economics and Analytics. With that, we will proceed to a vote on the item. Commissioner Gomez?
Approve.
Commissioner Trusty?
Approve.
The chair votes to approve as well. The item is adopted with editorial privileges as requested. And Madam Secretary, will you please announce the next item on today's agenda?
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, item 2 on your agenda is titled Establishing Transparency in Foreign Adversary Control and will be presented by the Wireline Competition Bureau. Joseph Calishone, Bureau Chief, will give the introduction.
Chief, that the smattering of 2 people applause is a tough thing to follow. It's big shoes, but I think you're up for the task. So when you are ready, please proceed.
We'll see. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The Wireline Competition Bureau is pleased to present for your consideration a report and order that would take an important step in protecting our communications networks against foreign adversary threats by adopting new disclosure requirements for holders of licenses and authorizations. I'd like to thank the Wireline Competition Bureau team for their work on this item, as well as our colleagues throughout the Commission. This truly was a cross-agency effort, and I'd like to particularly call out our collaboration through the Commission's Council on National Security for this item. Seated at the table with me are Allison Baker, Associate Chief of the Wireline Competition Bureau, Jody May, Chief of the Bureau's Competition Policy Division, Tanner Hinkle, Economist in the Office of Economics and Analytics Industry Analysis Division, and Chris Smank, Attorney Advisor in the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau's Operations and Emergency Management Division, as well as Mason Sheffa, Attorney Advisor in the Bureau's Competition Policy Division, who will now present the item. Mason.
Thank you, Joseph, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The United States government and the FCC have long recognized that foreign adversaries are engaged in a widespread and coordinated effort to exploit, attack, and otherwise compromise the integrity of United States communications networks, including through proxy entities. This rule enhances transparency and visibility into entities holding licenses and authorizations issued by the Commission and their relationships to foreign adversaries. The report in order, if adopted, would first define the scope of the licenses, leases, authorizations, permits, grants, and other approvals subject to new attestation and disclosure requirements by placing them into 3 schedules of licenses, A, B, and C, based on a variety of factors, including national security risk of foreign adversary control. Second, the report in order would require holders of Schedule A covered authorizations to attest whether they are or are not subject to foreign adversary control, require holders of Schedule B covered authorizations that are subject to foreign adversary control to attest thereof, and exempt holders of Schedule C covered authorizations from filing foreign adversary control attestations. Third, the report in order would require all covered authorization holders attesting to foreign adversary control to disclose additional information about such control, including all 5% or greater interests and the nature of the foreign adversary control to which the regulatee is subject. Fourth, the report in order would establish a single consolidated reporting system wherein all regulatees with a reporting obligation would make their attestations and submit any further required information. Fifth, the report in order would set a filing deadline for most regulatees of 60 days after the adoption of the public notice announcing the launch of the consolidated reporting system, provide an extended period of 120 days for small entities, and establish a variety of ongoing reporting requirements. The Bureau recommends adoption of this item and requests editorial privileges. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, and I appreciate the telecom-related pin that you have there. So appreciate that. I gotta get one of my own. Upgrade some of the pins that I've got. We'll now hear comments from the bench, starting with Commissioner Gomez.
Thank you. Yeah, I got that. National security and communications are inextricably linked in today's digital environment, where connectivity underpins every part of our lives. The FCC has a responsibility to ensure that entities operating in the U.S. communications ecosystem provide secure, reliable communication services. So today's item supports this important goal by gathering more information on entities under foreign adversary control that have the potential to undermine national security and public trust. So thank you to the Chairman's office for working with me on edits to this item, and thank you to the Wireline Competition Bureau and the whole team of other bureaus that contributed to this item.
Thank you. Commissioner Trusty.
Thank you. Communications networks are strategic terrain. Foreign adversaries increasingly view communications technologies as tools of geopolitical influence. The United States must continue to anticipate these risks and respond with foresight and resolve. The FCC has an important role to play in the government-wide effort to address foreign threats. One way the Commission fulfills that responsibility is by identifying and assessing potential national security risks posed by vendors, technologies, and operators seeking to participate in the United States communication networks. Information is essential to that mission. Today's item adopts a carefully calibrated approach to ensure the FCC has the critical ownership and control information it needs to evaluate potential risks from foreign adversaries as it carries out its authorization and licensing responsibilities. Just as importantly, the Commission must be prepared to act on that information. This order establishes an agency-wide directive for staff to monitor these filings, analyze ownership information submitted, and where appropriate, pursue enforcement action. These actions complement past and ongoing government-wide efforts to address national security threats. The rules build on the Department of Commerce's work to identify foreign adversaries, as well as the Commission's own long-standing efforts to protect U.S. communication networks from foreign threat actors. Safeguarding America's communications networks is not a one-time exercise. Indeed, it is a continuous effort that demands vigilance from all stakeholders. I look forward to continuing to work with my colleagues, our federal partners, Congress, and industry leaders to help ensure the security and integrity of our communications networks. I thank the Wireline Competition Bureau and the many bureaus and offices across the agency that contributed to this item, and I appreciate the significant work that lies ahead as the Commission makes full and effective use of the information these rules will generate. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Almost 4 years ago now, we first started talking about requiring the FCC to have every entity with an FCC license or authorization that's owned by or controlled by a foreign adversary government disclose that connection. Fast forward to today, and the Commission now votes to complete a rulemaking that does exactly that. This decision also builds on the specific and concrete steps the FCC has been taking to promote our country's national security. Indeed, from the day I stepped into this particular position at the agency, we've made national security a top priority, establishing a Council on National Security to coordinate actions just like this all across the Commission's offices and bureaus. In fact, today's item includes sections from 10 bureaus and offices reflecting this comprehensive Commission-wide approach. Foreign adversaries have made it clear their intent to probe and exploit vulnerabilities across our communications ecosystem. We've seen this through cyber attacks like Salt Typhoon. We've seen it in the equipment pipeline, where foreign adversary-controlled labs could attempt to influence the testing and approval of devices bound for the U.S. market. We've seen it in the online marketplace, where millions of prohibited devices linked to foreign adversaries were continuing to be sold to American consumers. And we've seen it at the carrier level, where entities with concerning ties to foreign governments have sought to operate in the U.S. despite clear national security risks. In all these areas, the FCC has taken action. We do so again today. This decision establishes a uniform system for identifying foreign adversary control across all FCC licensees and authorization holders. It sets up a clear, risk-based reporting structure that requires entities to attest to whether they are owned by, controlled by, or subject to the jurisdiction of a foreign adversary. This approach also tracks the broader and bipartisan FACT Act led by Senator Deb Fischer, and I appreciate the leadership behind that legislation. This single consolidated reporting system will give us and our national security partners the visibility needed to spot foreign adversary control before it's exploited. Additionally, this action will fill gaps in our information collection and ensure that we have consistent visibility across all entities that come before the agency. This has truly been an agency-wide effort. So for all their work on today's item, I'd like to thank Chief Calishone, Allison Baker, Jody May, Mason Sheffa, Shabir Hamid from the Wireline Bureau, Chris Smink from the Public Safety Bureau, Michael Scott from the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau, Jamie McCoy from the Enforcement Bureau, Jamie Coleman from OET, Doug Klein from OGC, Gabrielle Kim from the Office of International Affairs, Brendan Murray from the Media Bureau, Carolyn Mahoney from the Space Bureau, Thomas Reed and Roger Noel from the Wireless Bureau as well. So thanks again to the team for that. We'll now proceed to a vote on the item, starting with Commissioner Gomez.
Approve.
Commissioner Trusty?
Approve.
The chair votes to approve as well. The item is adopted with editorial privileges as requested. There we go. I fear we've started a new tradition that we're not going to be able to live up to. Madam Secretary, please announce the next item on today's agenda.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, item 3 on your agenda is titled Promoting Clarity by Codifying and Simplifying Foreign Ownership Rules, and will be presented by the Media Bureau and the Office of International Affairs. Aaron Boone, Chief of the Media Bureau, will give the introduction.
Chief Boone, when you are ready.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Before you is a report and order for the Commission's Section 310B ownership rules. This report and order was a joint effort by the staff of the Media Bureau and the Office of International Affairs. With me from the Media Bureau are Ben Arden, Special Counsel, and Emily Harrison, Attorney Advisor in the Video Division, and the lead attorney on this effort for the Media Bureau. With me today at the table from the Office of International Affairs are Tom Sullivan, Chief, Denise Coca, Division Chief of the Telecommunications and Analysis Division, and Farah Musinakalor. Did I get it? Yes. attorney advisor in the division and the lead attorney on this effort for OIA. Emily will present the item.
Thanks, Erin. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The Media Bureau and the Office of International Affairs are pleased to present the first report and order since 2016 addressing foreign ownership issues related to Section 310B of the Act. Over the past decade, we have been asked to approve increasingly complex foreign ownership structures. We have observed that when petitioners failed to provide us with complete ownership information, they have encountered avoidable processing delays. This report and order facilitates the Commission's public interest analysis and codifies current practices to make it easier for entities to understand and navigate our foreign ownership rules, avoiding inconsistent outcomes and reducing costs for petitioners. The report and order clarifies definitions and concepts in our foreign ownership rules, such as the definition of a controlling U.S. parent, which is an important term in calculating an entity's foreign interests. Other clarifications include disclosure requirements regarding trusts and trustees, U.S. residency requirements, and the treatment of deemed voting interests and advance approval of certain limited liability companies and limited partners. The report and order also clarifies requirements for petitioners seeking to correct situations where they are inadvertently out of compliance with foreign ownership rules, including extending remedial procedures to privately held entities for the first time. The report and order also codifies the Commission's existing procedures for filing amendments to pending petitions. With regard to broadcast licensees only, the report and order directs the Media Bureau to issue processing guidelines detailing how the Commission will process pending broadcast applications during the pendency of a remedial Section 310B petition, and clarifies other considerations related to processing non-commercial educational and low-power FM station applications. We recommend adoption of the report and order and request editorial privileges for technical and conforming edits. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now turn to comments from the bench, starting with Commissioner Gomez.
I'm glad to see us take up this item, which reflects a shared commitment across administrations to bring greater clarity and consistency to our foreign ownership rules. Through this action, the FCC codifies long-standing review practices, streamlines our processes, and establishes clear safeguards that protect national security while continuing to support responsible foreign investment. I thank the chairman for his focus on this bipartisan issue, and I also thank the Office of International Affairs and the Media Bureau for their work on this item.
Thank you. Commissioner Trustee.
Thank you. Recognizing the economic benefits of foreign investment in U.S. companies while remaining vigilant against foreign threat actors is key to protecting both our economic and national security. For more than a decade, the Commission, supported by its dedicated and expert staff, has developed and applied policies to safeguard the public interest by ensuring that foreign entities with ownership in broadcast, common carrier, and aeronautical radio licensees comply with the Communications Act. In furtherance of transparency, consistency, and efficiency, this item takes the important step of codifying the Commission's long-standing policies and practices pursuant to our statutory obligations. Doing so provides greater clarity to stakeholders while strengthening the integrity of the foreign ownership review process. This report and order strikes the proper balance, encouraging investment in the United States while advancing the America First investment policy of protecting our country from new and consistently evolving national security threats. The item builds on the Commission's ongoing efforts to streamline regulatory processes, enhance oversight, and prevent bad actors from gaining access to our communications networks. I particularly support the increased regulatory certainty for industry, the simplification of the petition process, and the reduced burdens on both stakeholders and Commission staff during the ownership review process. I thank the Media Bureau and the Office of International Affairs for your great work on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Last year, the Commission launched its delete proceeding. Since then, we've successfully identified tens of thousands of words of regulation for elimination, ones that no longer serve the public interest either because they regulate obsolete technology, are no longer used at all in practice, or are otherwise outdated. This effort to slash costly regulations is necessary and vital, but the FCC also has a significant set of regulatory requirements that are off the books and many more regulatory provisions that are simply unclear. Having those uncodified and unclear rules adds needless costs, makes it harder for entities to understand and navigate our requirements, and risks inconsistent outcomes. One case in point is the FCC's set of foreign ownership regulations. Over the past decade, we've approved many transactions involving foreign investment in the country, and that's a good thing. As President Trump's America First investment policy memo notes, welcoming foreign investment will be a key part of America's golden age. Along the way, we considered new questions about the meaning of our rules and regulations, but in many cases, we never codified those decisions. So today we seek comment on writing those down in the CFR. Call it an exercise in good government. But good government also means simplifying outdated rules when possible, and we'll take that opportunity here too. Today, then, we propose streamlining many of our review processes. For all their great work on this item before us today, I'd like to thank Chief Boone, Emily Harrison, Ben Arden, Christopher Clark, Hillary DeNigro, and Brendan Holland from the Media Bureau, Tom Sullivan, Denise Coca, Farah Mosenekalur, David Kretsch, Joseph Meyer, and Brenda Villanueva from the Office of International Affairs as well. Thank you all for the great work on the item, and we'll now proceed to a vote. Commissioner Gomez?
Approve.
Commissioner Trusty?
Approve.
The chair votes to approve as well. The item is adopted with editorial privileges as requested. Thank you. Thank you for that. Madam Secretary, please announce the next item on today's agenda.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, item 4 on your agenda is titled Modernizing Internet-Based Telecommunications Relay Services and will be presented by the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau. Edward Bartholomew, Bureau Chief, will give the introduction.
Thanks. Chief, when you're ready, please proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Today, the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau presents for your consideration a notice of proposed rulemaking that proposes to modernize internet-based telecommunications relay services. I would like to thank the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau staff for their hard work on this item. I would also like to thank the Office of Economics and Analytics, the Office of the General Counsel, the Office of the Managing Director, the Office of Communications Business Opportunities, the Enforcement Bureau, and the Wireline Competition Bureau for their review and contributions to the item. Joining me today at the table are Lisa Wilson-Edwards, a Deputy Bureau Chief in CGB's front office, and Michael Scott, a Deputy Chief in the Disability Rights Office. Michael will present the item.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I am pleased to present this draft notice of proposed rulemaking, or NPRM. This item before you would continue our efforts to modernize the Commission's rules governing telecommunication relay services, or TRS. This proposal complements the analog TRS proceeding the Commission began last fall and is part of the agency's holistic first principles approach to ensuring that communications remain accessible. Changes in communication technology continue to reshape the TRS landscape. By this NPRM, the Commission would re-examine existing regulations with the goals of improving service quality, increasing efficiency, and removing unnecessary regulations. The draft NPRM would seek specific enhancements for IP relay and video relay services, or VRS, along with administrative reforms to streamline the TRS program. For IP relay, the NPRM would seek comment on rule changes to facilitate the provision of IP relay using automatic speech recognition for speech-to-text conversion and advanced text-to-speech technologies. The NPRM would also seek comment on promoting the compatibility of IP relay with real-time text technology and the need for metrics for IP relay quality. For VRS, the draft NPRM would seek comment on providing captioning functionality in VRS calls, allowing VRS calls to embassies and consulates by U.S. residents traveling abroad, and adjusting VRS physical call center requirements. For the overall TRS program, the NPRM would seek comment on streamlining the TRS provider certification process to reduce burdens on providers, unifying and streamlining the existing user registration and verification requirements, ensuring uniform application of the rules requiring notice of substantive changes in internet-based TRS offerings, ensuring uniform application of the rules prohibiting the offering of incentives to the TRS users, updating or eliminating obsolete rules, and closing outdated dockets. The Bureau recommends adoption of the item and requests editorial privileges for technical and conforming edits. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. We'll now hear comments from the bench, starting with Commissioner Gomez.
At the end of last year, the FCC began looking at ways to modernize the telecommunications relay services. TRS are a type of communication services that allow persons who are deaf, hard of hearing, deafblind, or have speech disabilities to communicate by telephone in a manner that is functionally equivalent to the way persons without such disabilities use telephone service. Over time and with technological progress, telecommunications relay services have also evolved from relying on the analog telephone network to now being available over the internet. The proceeding we adopted last November focuses on modernizing analog TRS. Today, we consider a notice of proposed rulemaking to begin a conversation about modernizing internet-based TRS. As we undertake the task of assessing the impact of new technologies like automated speech recognition and established internet-based telecommunications services like IP relay, IPCTS, and VRS, and as we consider deleting and amending rules that help these services catch up with today's world, we cannot lose sight of our responsibility to prioritize solutions that serve the disability community. Thank you to the chairman for incorporating my edits to the NPRM, including asking about how common carriers can share information about TRS with their subscribers in a modern way, and asking about the benefits of retaining the TRS Advisory Council, which has been a forum where consumers, providers, and state policymakers can provide input on the administration of the TRS fund. I look forward to hearing from the disability community, industry, state decision makers involved in the provision of TRS, and the communications assistant workforce on the proposals that we make today. Thank you also to the Bureau for your strong work on this item. I look forward to seeing the record develop.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Trusty.
Thank you. In November, the Commission initiated a proceeding to ensure that users of analog forms of telecommunications relay services are not left behind as our nation's communications networks transition to IP-based technologies. As I noted at the time, the ultimate goal is to ensure that TRS users can fully benefit from the enhanced capabilities made possible by advanced communications networks. Today's NPRM continues that work with a focus on internet-based forms of TRS. We see comment on how users and providers can take advantage of innovative technologies and expanded service capabilities, including potential for automatic speech recognition and other advanced tools to improve IP relay and video relay service. This item builds on the FCC's prior actions, making ASR capabilities available as an option for providers and users of IP captioned telephone service, another internet-based TRS offering. Consistent with those efforts, the Commission's objective here is to enhance the consumer experience and ensure that internet-based TRS continues to evolve alongside other services in the modern communications marketplace. I thank the Consumer and Governmental Affairs Bureau for your excellent work on this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Last year marked the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The FCC plays a critical role in implementing and enforcing the ADA's requirements, including for TRS. Last fall, we kicked off a proceeding to modernize analog TRS. Back then, I said it was time for the agency to take a first principles approach to accessibility to ensure the FCC's rules are aligned with modern technology. The technology advancements that necessitated a fresh look at analog TRS also impact IP-based TRS. So with today's item, we continue the work we started last year by proposing targeted reforms to IP forms of TRS. This is what we're calling TRS Modernization Part 2, and this action supports our broader effort to encourage the IP transition. As we make that transition, we're mindful of consumer protection provisions and necessary updates to them, like those we propose today. Principally, we seek comment on changes to improve the provision of IP relay and video relay service. We also seek comment on streamlining our rules and deleting or updating outdated rules that no longer reflect reality. I look forward to a robust record in this proceeding. For all their great work on the item, I'd like to thank the entire team from Chief Bartholomew, Lisa Wilson Edwards, Michael Scott, William David Wallace, a lot of middle names in this group, Joshua Mendelson from CGB. I'd also like to thank staff from the Office of General Counsel, Office of Economics and Analytics, Office of Managing Director, OCBO, the Wireline Bureau, and Enforcement Bureau for their work. It was a team effort. And with that, we will proceed to a vote on the item. Commissioner Gomez?
Approve.
Commissioner Trusty?
Approve.
The chair votes to approve as well. The item is adopted with editorial privileges as requested. That's a good thing. Yeah, let's just do it. Do it for every item now. And with that, we're coming near the end here. Would any of my colleagues like to make any announcements at this time, starting with Commissioner Gomez?
Yes, please. Thank you. I would like to introduce my spring interns. First, we have Macarena Mac Villa Gomez Tapia. She's not here because she's in Colorado. She's a third year at the University of Colorado School of Law in Boulder. Mac grew up in Denver, Colorado, and attended the University of Colorado Boulder, where she studied international affairs and political science. Mac is a telecom nerd. She is an editor of the Colorado Technology Law Journal and even audited a spectrum management and policy class just for fun. Mac is looking forward to graduating this May and recently decided it was time to finally learn how to swim and is taking swim lessons. My second intern is actually here visiting us today. Ellie, stand up please. Elizabeth Ellie Bailey, a second year at William and Mary School of Law, grew up locally in Arlington, Virginia. She attended Davidson College, where she studied political science and Hispanic studies. Last summer, Ellie worked in La Plata, Argentina, for an NGO that advocates for the humane treatment of prisoners. While there, she was able to learn about a legal system that is extremely different from the United States and worked on her Spanish language skills. Argentina is the 25th country she has visited, and she is focused on visiting 30 by the time she turns 30. Welcome.
Welcome. Commissioner Trusty.
Thanks. I have two announcements. The first is I want to take a moment to introduce our very first intern in the trustee office, Joseph Novacek. So Joseph is, oh, you can stay standing. Thank you very much.
It's part of the ritual.
Yes, sorry. So Joseph is a second-year law student at Catholic University. He has an undergraduate degree in biology and neuroscience from Ursinus College. And before law school, he was involved in medical research. A few fun facts about Joseph: he hails from Baltimore. In his free time, he likes practicing Mandarin. He is working toward visiting all of the national parks. And this weekend, he learned that he should have bought a new shovel. So please join me in welcoming Joseph with our new clapping tradition today. And say hello to him when you see him. Thank you. Okay, now you can be seated. My second announcement, I just want to take a moment to recognize Miss Nellie Fusner, who can also stand. I've had the opportunity to work with Nellie for almost 3 months. She has been covering for Will, who's on paternity leave. She's hit the ground running in our office. She's covered 3 open meetings. She's covered 2 FCC oversight hearings, speeches, fireside chats, and traveled to CES earlier this month. She's been an invaluable addition to our team. We just are so grateful to have had her She's terrific and know she will continue to do wonderful things at the agency. So thank you, Nellie, for your contributions. That's it.
Thanks to the commissioners and welcome to everybody. That's new. Before we adjourn, a couple of additions on my end here. One, we're excited to announce that Dr. Jonathan Williams has joined the FCC as our chief economist and the head of our Office of Economics and Analytics. Dr. Williams brings an exceptional record of scholarship and leadership from his time at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he served as professor of economics and director of the Center for Regulatory and Industrial Studies. His work in industrial organization and applied economics, econometrics, I don't even know how to say the name, but it's sounds really interesting, along with his experience advising institutions across the policy and academic sectors makes him exceptionally well suited for the role, and will compete with General and Professor Kandub for the privilege of being one of the top professors at the agency. I look forward to relying on Dr. Williams's expertise as we advance the agency's work on behalf of the American people. In the chair's office itself, pleased to share that we have a new intern joining our office this semester, Ryan Fennelly. Ryan, if you're here, you got to stand up. You got to go through the whole thing. Ryan's a recent grad of the University of Notre Dame, where he studied classics with a focus on Latin and earned a minor in business administration. After graduating, he spent time working as a substitute teacher right here in Southeast DC, and he assures us that had he still been there, they would have opened up for school at least a day earlier. He would have been out there shoveling all the walkways, clearing it up. Ryan's already been a tremendous help to us at the agency, and we are excited to have him with us this semester. And with that, Madam Secretary, will you please announce the next date for the Commission's monthly agenda? All right, until then, we are adjourned. Thanks.
Thank you.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I had to check the time, but we are definitely before noon. So we're going to be starting the chairman's press conference momentarily. So if you could please take your conversations outside or have a seat, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right. Without further ado.